Hey, hi, hello. I'm Jenna or Jenna Cat, and Astarion himself personally welcomes you to my channel. If you are watching this video, then there is a 98% chance that you have played Baldur's Gate 3 1, 2, or maybe even 10 times now. And if you are of the 2% that has no idea what I'm talking about, then crawl out from under that rock you've been living under and download that shit right now. Just kidding. It is a-okay if you have not played Baldur's Gate 3. What I'm going to make today is cool as shit, so feel free to stick around. I am obsessed with this game and all of its amazing characters and stunning visuals, but the other day when I was playing, my character happened to pick up the Necromancy of Thay. I took one look at that horrific face staring up at me with its soulless glowing purple eyes, and I thought to myself, I need to make that immediately. And that's just what we're going to be doing today. Not only will I be making the Necromancy of Thay out of this old hymns book, yes, the irony is so tasty here, but I will also be turning it into one of those like secret compartment books. So without further ado, let's get into some crafting. Every intrepid traveler must come equipped with the proper tools. The tools needed to complete this project are an old hymns book or any book will do, circle clasps for these pieces here, ornate book corners, antique style book clasps, silicone putty to make molds for the eye and mouth holes if necessary, Mod Podge, clay, brown packing paper, and resin. Amazon affiliate links will be posted in the video description. Armed with my trusty X-Acto knife and a ruler, I went to work carving into the pages of the book, determined to craft my secret compartment. This was my first encounter as a level 1 adventurer, and the battle nearly broke my spirit. The ruler served as a guide, hoping that it would steady my knife for straight cuts, but the pages fought back. My cuts veered, they strayed from the desired path, and the force needed to cut multiple pages at once nearly snapped my wrist in two. Nearing the end of my first battle, I deployed my cardboard shield to stop the knife from piercing more pages than necessary. Otherwise, I would have found myself in an endless, painful loop of paper cutting. Once the beast was slain, I cleaned the edges, ridding the book of jagged, sloppy cuts, and shaking out any scraps hiding within its depths. Encounter 2 resulted in what is now referred to as the Great Battle of Mod Podgius. My tactic was to Mod Podge clusters of pages at a time, but the adhesive nature of this glue was too strong and too fast drying. If I misplaced even a single layer, there was no hope of rectifying the mistake. The Nat 1s rolled hard and fast in this endeavor. I shifted tactics, and instead Mod Podged any exposed sides, the top pages, and the inside of the compartment. This technique fared far better than the previous one. I stacked weights on top to hold the beast in place as the Mod Podge dried. And don't forget your loyal parchment paper shield, or else you may very well glue your entire book shut, never to be opened again. Alright, the Mod Podge has dried. It's actually been several weeks since I put the Mod Podge on, so it is absolutely, definitely, 100%, without a doubt, dry. I'm gonna take off these weights and kind of see how it's looking. I definitely didn't do the Mod Podging technique very well at first. As you can see, it's got these crinkles and wrinkles here. The book closes and it hides my little secret compartment. I still don't know what I'm gonna use this secret compartment for yet. And it's not very deep because, my God, was it exhausting cutting through these pages. Maybe my X-Acto knife wasn't sharp enough, but it was a time trying to get through these pages. So next, the exciting bits. It's time for the fun stuff. I've got brown paper, and I'm gonna start Mod Podging the brown paper to the front. I just thought it would give it a nice skin-like texture. Also, to help with the skin-like texture, I got some liquid latex. So between my liquid latex, my Mod Podge, which I am almost out of, and this brown paper, I think I'm gonna be able to get some really good skin texture on this book. Not a sentence I ever thought I'd have to say, but that's what we're going for. And then once I've got a base skin texture, I'm going to sculpt the face, bake the face. Again, not a sentence I'd think I'd be saying. Clay face, let me clarify. After I bake the clay face, we will glue the clay face on and add more skin texture and start. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, we're gonna start with this step, making the base of my hymnal book into a creepy skin book. Finally,
My dice were rolling high for encounter 3. For the book's exterior makeover, I swaddled it in brown packing paper and Mod Podge, intentionally crinkling the paper as I went to kickstart that eerie skin-like texture. To combat slow dry time, I employed my faithful heat gun's fire-like breath.
Okay, I'm actually gonna change up my original plan a little bit. Right now, I just put down the paper and Mod Podge. I'm going to wait to do the liquid latex until I've got the face assembled, and then I'll use the liquid latex to go in with more detail. But I also need to figure out how I'm gonna do these lights. Okay, so part of my plan for this, the Necromancy of Thay itself does have glowing eyeballs and mouth gem, so I need to figure out how I'm gonna do that. Usually I put the lights in the resin and let the lights cure inside the resin. I'm not gonna do that for this. I think what I will do, or should I do what I just said? Okay, it's two ways I can see going about this. Way one is I put a set of lights in one eyeball, a set of lights in the other eyeball, and a set of lights in the mouthpiece. And then these, no, that won't work. These are gonna be too big to hide in behind the eye gem. Yeah, that seems absurdly too big. So my other thought is drilling holes where the eyes are gonna be, feeding the lights through. Man, clearly I have some things I need to work out for this project. Because it's not gonna be as straightforward as I thought it was going to be. And then I can store I specifically left these pages out so that it leaves almost like it's a real book type of look. But now I'm regretting that because this little secret compartment will be perfect for hiding the battery packs. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'll likely drill through the pages and through the book and then kind of glue down the lights. So that'll be my plan for now. Plan may change as the project progresses, but first I will sculpt the face. I'm gonna test out a few different ways to do the clay, a few different ways to do the lights. Y'all will see what I end up going with. But for right now, my brain just won't know until I just start trying. So I'm just gonna start trying things. Wish me luck, please.
As you may know, artistic endeavors often come with artistic experimentation, and not all experiments are successful. Imagine my frustration as I attempted to sculpt this face with foil and Sculpey Clay, only for it to resemble the aftermath of a gelatinous cube attack more than a menacing face visage. It was time for another tactic shift. Crayola Air Dry Clay. This stuff may be cheap, and it may not be as malleable as Sculpey, but it allowed me to make convincing eye and mouth holes and seamlessly blend the edges into the book. Pro tip, if you attempt this route, rubbing alcohol softens the surface of clay, even air dry clay, to better smooth and spread to your desired vision. The trickiest part of the face was sculpting the nose. Remember, you can pick your friends, you can even pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose, unless that friend is a creepy skull attached to a book.
Okay, the face is sculpted, and I am very much at that point in the process where I must trust the process, because this is what we've got going on so far. I mean, it is still horrifying, and the goal is to be horrifying, so we've got that going on here. It's just
Hola.
Because I ended up using that air dry clay, and that air dry clay is blue, it just looks so out of place. I think this will work. I think I can make this work once I add some texture, some more paper so it blends in, and some liquid latex. I think we'll be good. And paint will change everything. That for sure will change everything. But that's what we're working with so far. I just hope it turns out cool. So let's do some more fun stuff and adding textures to my creepy little blue face. Let's get into it.
Now, the adventure was really taking flight, my experience shining through heading into Encounter 5 as I deployed more brown paper chunks slathered in Mod Podge, this time blending each piece in with my fingers to hide any seams, like the world's most disturbing facial massage. But let's not get too overzealous with that paper just yet. We need to keep the eye and mouth holes clear for a step later in this adventure. If you enjoy delightfully grotesque textures, then this next encounter is for you. With an old paintbrush as my weapon of choice, I went to fervent work with liquid latex. And that liquid latex did not disappoint. It rolled a nat 20 all over that face in just a few short strokes. As the latex dried, I rubbed, pinched, and pulled with my fingers, causing it to bunch up on itself for those extra gross wrinkles and holes. Yeah, that was a pretty gross sentence, wasn't it? Now it's time for a side quest, because, spoiler alert, this technique did not go as planned. At first thought, using silicone putty to make molds of the eyes and mouth to then pour the resin into seemed like a brilliant plan. But even as I smeared that blue goo into place, I knew I did not think things through all the way. The molds would turn out inverted, too small, and not very smooth or shiny. It was a valiant effort, but it was a failure nonetheless. Sculpting the teeth was certainly a teeth-gritting challenge. My dice rolls were low, but I still tried to capture the decayed and rotted look from the original image by carving in textures with my sculpting tools. It wasn't perfect, far from it, but it did the job well enough. Remember, dental hygiene is important, fellow adventurers.
Alright, so our Necromancy of Thay is looking properly creepy. We've still got a little ways to go, but I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out. The liquid latex absolutely 1000% was the perfect move for this project because it's looking so just like gross and skin pustules and the texture is gross and cool and I love it. I made 2 different sets of teeth to see kind of which one I think will end up looking the best for this version of the Necromancy of Thay, because you know, like, I'm making a recreation of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to look exactly the same. As long as I like it and I think it looks cool, that's really what matters at the end of the day. And my resin has fully cured, and this I am definitely the most nervous about because I don't think it's going to work, and I'm gonna have to try to figure out a completely different thing if it doesn't. So we've got this first piece. Yeah, that doesn't look very shiny, and it like, oh no, yeah, that doesn't work. That definitely doesn't work. That's definitely not big enough. Yeah, the mouth piece certainly not big enough. Let's do the eye pieces. And I made like some of these to see if maybe any of these would work better. Ooh, that's actually beautiful. No, that's perfect. I need to make another one in this size then, because that's exactly how I want that to look. I need to figure out how to do this mouth though.
That's what she said.
That sounded inappropriate. I need to figure out how to make a gem for this mouth opening. But I can go ahead and start doing the fun bits, which is finishing covering the book in the paper and skin texture and paint. I'm so excited to paint it. That's like the part I'm the most excited about. So let's go ahead and get into some more of the super fun creative bits of this project.
Alright, we've seen this encounter before. More paper, more Mod Podge, and make sure to use spare paper bits to blend those cavity-filled teeth into the mouth. Brace yourselves, we have yet another layer of latex to implement for encounter 10. Yes, we have already slain so many creative beasts. After the generous second coat of latex dried, the real fun of this adventure began. There's an indescribable satisfaction in manipulating liquid latex. Watching it split into cuts and holes in such grotesque ways really brings pleasure to those who are more horror-minded. I attempted to emulate the split in the side of the mouth like the original photo, but my attempt yielded a much smaller, more understated result. But as long as the end product looks amazing, we don't need a perfect replica. To enhance the nose, I added a bit more clay and paper to highlight its bony structure. Finally, after a battle of weapons and wit, it was time to turn to the magic that would bring the entire project to life, the almighty power of paint. I started Encounter 11 with a layer of dark brown and several experience levels higher. For the mouth, a blend of red and brown ensured distinction without stark contrast. Balancing the hues was key to maintaining coherence. For the face portion, I carefully added a lighter shade of brown, homing in on the look of the original photo. I needed to be wary that this new shade seamlessly melded into the base coat, so I occasionally dabbed the paint away with a paper towel. I even used a moist sponge brush to create a nice ombre effect, as the edge of the protruding face met with the flat portion of the book. Areas where bone protruded required even lighter tones, adding depth and realism. I made a minor error attempting my own dark wash with black acrylic paint and water. The result was too dark and too intense, so my journey had to be stalled for a quick trip to my local apothecary, or more accurately, a hobby board game shop. I brought home with me a beautiful liquid brew of professional black wash. As I applied this new paint, it sunk into the dips and crevices effortlessly. I still made use of my trusty paper towel to dab away areas that got too dark. The visage was almost complete. A healthy layer of dry brushing with the lightest hues possible added the last kiss of dimension, refining the book's weathered appearance. The same painting techniques were applied to the teeth, leaving them properly rotted and decayed.
I fully believe that I will be finishing this project this weekend. Now, I know for all of y'all watching, it's only been minutes since I've started this project, but it's actually been months. I started this in March. It is now June 1st, which, by the way, happy Pride Month. It is June 1st. I don't know when I'll be posting this, hopefully sometime in June. Anyways, I am close. I'm so close. Here's what we're working with so far. It's looking so good. I'm seriously, I'm in love with this. I know it's so creepy, but I'm in love with this. This thing is looking way awesomer. Awesomer is not a word. Way more awesome than what I originally thought it was gonna look. Today, I'm going to mix my resin. I found some sphere molds on Amazon, but I only need half a sphere. When I test putting it in the mouth, it seems like this piece is gonna be the best. And then the other thing that I need to start working on is adding the embellishments. So now that my rambling is over, let's get into the crafts for today.
With my new resin plan, my confidence in completing this mission successfully was soaring high as I soared into Encounter 12. Aging the metal corner pieces involved sanding and roughing up the surface to allow for the black paint to stick, harmonizing them with the book's eerie and old aesthetic. Affixing the corner pieces was simple. A dab of hot glue and a patient hand while the glue dried. The antique book latches required a bit more effort. A pencil was needed to plot out where the pilot holes would go. Once those were drilled, it was time to secure the latch with the provided screws. The extra effort was worth the security these screws delivered. It was now time to kill my darling. Encounter 13. With trepidation, I drilled through the eye sockets and mouth to create openings for the lights. Despite a minor mishap with the latex catching on the drill and pulling up in one eye, the blemish would not be visible in the end result. Stringing the lights through the eye and mouth holes brought an unexpected sick satisfaction. And instead of using different light packs for each hole, I folded the wire in half to thread a portion of the lights into each eye. Not captured was the struggle with my biggest foe yet, breaking this clasp in two. It was 20 minutes of pulling it, hammering it, cutting it, yelling at it, you name it. But all this struggle was not for nothing. Eventually the metal weakened just enough to snap in half. This metal required the same sanding and painting process as the book corners. The hot glue for these, though, did not hold well and needed to be repaired multiple times, but eventually I got it to stick. At least for now. And now, the final touch as we head into Encounter 14. Perfectly crafted resin gems. These pieces slotted into their holes flawlessly and completed the masterpiece. A few final gluing touches and she will be complete, marking the end of a valiant journey of creation and discovery.
And here she is, my completed Necromancy of Thay. Thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me. I had so much fun making this piece, and honestly, I think it's probably one of my favorite things I've ever made thus far. I am so stoked with how it turned out. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you were able to make your own Necromancy of Thay at home. Just remember to read at your own risk. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see me make next, please let me know down in the comments below. I have a plethora of ideas of things I want to make, but of course, I want to hear from you guys as well. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to trust the process.